we've really reached peak dystopia now on this terrible planet, that the most immoral army in the entire world is now jumping on a stupid trend to use AI to turn images into an anime style that resembles Studio Ghibli. And of course, Miyazaki and the creative team at Studio Ghibli, I'm sure they'd be thrilled to see their art being basically stolen to be used to make war criminals and an apartheid military look more cute or whatever. But that is just what has been happening recently on social media, especially on Twitter, with OpenAI, who obviously their big product is ChatGPT. Now you can use their AI to make your images into the style of an anime, obviously clearly stealing the style of Studio Ghibli. And I want to talk about this today because, yeah, a lot of people have been saying, oh my god, like, what's the big deal? Why is it so deep? I just want to, make a cool little photo. I want to change my profile picture to an anime. And yeah, in terms of your brain working, maybe it actually isn't that deep. A lot of people are really divorced from the conversation around AI. So what they just see is an animated style that millions of people around the world like, and easily they can make a picture of themselves in this anime style. You don't have to pay anyone to do it. Obviously, most people wouldn't see that as a problem. That's great. I don't have to pay anyone to do this and get this nice photo. And obviously, I don't even think about environmental impacts. And I actually don't think about what this is doing to our society generally and how it's really stripping away the meaning of art and repurposing it for just AI slop content. And this fits in nicely to a lot of issues I talk about on this channel is mass consumer entertainment, whether that be like Taylor Swift songs on her latest album, or that be like Marvel movies. Yeah, there is a real degradation of what consumers see as quality in art, where sadly I think AI products will be successful because we have just lowered the bar as a society to like what we enjoy in film, music, or just anything, that yeah, millions of people will eat their AI slop and they won't see any issues with it and they'll actually like it. This literally plays into so many facets of our society, like even something with like Book Talk and some of the most popular books on that. A lot of these books are self-published and written for TikTok, and they're just so poorly done. They're literally only written for profit. And at the end of the day, it all comes back down to capitalism, doesn't it? And what OpenAI are doing is ripping off the aesthetics of a very successful artistic studio who've made great movies and using it to boost hype for their product and boost their valuation in the AI bubble, especially now there are more cheaper Chinese competitors coming out with better products where they're all getting scared. So they've just done this newest gimmick to get people excited in the power of AI. And people like Sam Altman, it reminds me so much of like crypto. It reminds me so much of all these various like hype bubbles, even like with Elon Musk and Tesla. And the future is just overwhelmingly stupid, and I just fucking hate it. So today I want to talk about just this trend, and I want to talk about the degradation of just what we value as a society, as a species, in regards to art. And then I want to end it a little bit talking about like my own art, not my YouTube videos, but just something I'm writing to really illustrate the point to people. Human art is so unique from each individual because we're all just a combination of our upbringing, our experiences, our tastes, our influences. While AI can often mimic this, it will never be able to have a unique voice like us, and we shouldn't be wanting as a society to have AI replace the fun things that make us human, like creating art, drawing, animating things, making videos, making movies, making video games. We don't want AI to make any of that. And the only reason you would is if you are a capitalist who has investments in AI, or you want to put loads of people out of a job to have it done by AI so you can save even more money, because we need to reject things like AI taking over entertainment and art and stuff. Because what is that going to achieve in the long run? AI isn't just going to steal your jobs, it's also going to steal your soul and your humanity by just making all art for you. So let's talk about all of this today. Before we go any further, follow me on social media at the Kavernacle on Blue Sky and on Instagram. And if you want to support my work, check out my Patreon page and check out YouTube memberships. And if I sound a bit tired, it's just because I'm getting over being ill, and then suddenly hay fever has been like wrecking my throat and my nose, so I sound a bit nasally today. But if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you do because you've probably seen this AI slop everywhere. So obviously Variety reporting The latest version of OpenAI's image generation technology has resulted in a flood of users sharing images on social media that have been transformed in the style of Studio Ghibli. On Tuesday, OpenAI launched what it calls its most advanced image generator yet, built into GPT-4. As it turns out, the image generator is also very good at replicating the anime style of Studio Ghibli. And Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, actually changed his profile picture on Twitter to him in this style as well. And it's not like he's been discouraging the trend at all. He actually posted another picture, I think it's of him and people who work at his company, of a picture of them in this anime style. And yeah, this guy is just truly like pathetic. Remember, he said he was an NPC because he didn't realize how great Trump was in his first term. If you go on his profile, he's actually retweeting like Hindu fascists and like pictures of Modi in military outfits, talking about the GPUs melting at his company because of everyone doing this trend, saying one man's slop is another's treasure, and it's just saying loads of random shit, encouraging basically posting in this anime style. And you see like loads of celebrities hopping on this. Sadly, you even saw Hideo Kojima retweeting someone who ran a picture of Death Stranding 2 into that, which again is another moment of a game director like going against his own work. Like Hideo Kojima has had a massive focus on AI in his video games, especially Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, which have some warnings about AI. And also delve really deeply into AI. Like if you talk to Strangelove in Peace Walker, you talk all about the history of it. So it's sad to see even someone like that is retweeting absolute garbage like this. So that's kind of what I mean about this kind of like degradation of just any sort of, I don't know what the word would necessarily be in this regard, but our criteria for anything is just so low these days. Like people don't want to like assess things. They don't want to be challenged by things. They just want to be fed slop to numb them from the reality of our broken society, increasingly spiraling under late stage capitalism, where people just want to go on their phones and do random shit and forget about it after 2 seconds, because in a year, who is going to be doing this trend anymore? No one will give a shit about it, but it's all designed for hype for OpenAI and Sam Altman to continue to value their company at a massively overinflated rate to make all these people more money and basically help them worm their way into all of our lives for no reason. And I'm pretty much just like against this type of AI for people to just use in like a recreational sense, to use to create stupid AI images. I'm not someone who is completely against AI. There's important AI in things like medicine, AI that helps identify like new ingredients for antibiotics because we don't want to make a superbug. There's totally legit uses for it. But these things are not legit uses, and the spread of stuff for this is not legit use. And if I'm ever made like Emperor of the Earth, the Butlerian jihad is happening, and we're just going to destroy all these GPUs that run these AI softwares because this is just not good for the planet generally, but it's just not good for human society. And that's beyond even getting into that a lot of this art just looks fucking terrible. Like it mimics the style, sure, but you know it's not authentic, and you can tell that just from looking at it. Like I don't think anyone who has like even a little bit of experience watching these animated films would mistake any of these pictures for something that is actually made by Studio Ghibli. But again, on the point about just us lowering our expectations, a lot of people on Twitter run these basically like content farms just posting Studio Ghibli stuff. So one of them here says, the 4-second scene from Studio Ghibli's The Wind Rises took animator E.G. Yamamori 1 year and 3 months to complete. And if you like zoom in, maybe I'll get a better resolution picture. Like a lot of these characters, very distinctive. Obviously someone has put a lot of effort into just drawing each person to make them visually distinct, right? And a lot of you guys will be asking like, why? Why would he do this? Why would he take so long? But clearly, if you're asking that question, you don't understand why an artist would be a perfectionist, why he might take so long to do something you think they would just churn out in 2 seconds. But the efficiency mindset of Silicon Valley is what drives these AI things. So they think something like this, you should spend like 10 seconds on that, because who really gives a shit anyway? No one gives a shit. So they just want this as content slop, so give them the slop. Just get an AI to render this in 2 seconds, and here we go. And if you go to the comments, most of them are like this. With AI today, 3 seconds. Sounds inefficient. AI will be great for content. Why did it take so much time? I feel like poor time management was involved. In 1 year and 3 months, AI will do it better than humans in less than 5 minutes. He's also happy now that he can get it done in 4 seconds. And now it can be created in 1.3 seconds. He should be thanking AI, so the work is easy now. If your response to art is, he could have done that more efficiently, you don't understand art at all. And I'm actually listening to Al Pacino's audiobook right now. And he's an interesting guy for this because a lot of the times the director and the studio will be happy with something and he'll make them bring it back. And he said there was a scene in Scarface, I think it's the dinner scene where he's wearing a tuxedo, and he said for budget reasons they decided not to do that scene, and he forced them to do it, and it cost them $200,000 in like 1982 to like redo everything to make this one scene happen. He said that's the way Oliver Stone wrote it, that's the way I want to do it, I think it makes the whole film. And then looking back, that's one of the better and well-known scenes, and he was right about this. But with the efficiency mindset, you just wouldn't do that. You'd be like, Scarface is the shootout at the end, that's all we need, so let's just focus on that. But someone like Al Pacino, who is more like artistically motivated, apart from when he's broke, which he also talks about in the book, he obviously didn't care about the money, right? And he wasn't one of the money people, but he realizes for the art, he had to do this. And it's the same in things like The Godfather, you hear him talking about this, and any person who has an interest in art will always say efficiency does not make something good. Yeah, sometimes it's good to be efficient when you're talking about like creating everything to have a successful piece of art, like having a computer that works for an animator, or having, I don't know, sharp pencils for someone who draws. That's when you want to be efficient and not have to constantly like go to the shops or buy new things. But in terms of actually producing something that is worthwhile, that is down to the artist to decide that, and not for people just watching it being like, yeah, well, thankfully now they can do it in 3 seconds with AI, where it removes all soul and artistic integrity, just so, you know, because we're watching that and we don't really give a shit about this. A lot of the time, and even it goes for things like YouTube videos, you put effort in when you know people won't notice certain things because you just want to be proud of it. And that's another point of it as well. Remove capitalism from all of this, remove the profit incentive, and a lot more artists would take a lot longer to make something they're happier with. And then it's not surprising either that Miyazaki obviously hates AI. And there's actually a really famous clip going around again.
でこれは早く移動するっていうのが学習させたやつなんですね。これ頭を使って移動してるんですけど。
毎朝この頃会わないけど身体障害の友人がいるんですよ。でその人はまあ歩いてくるんだけど片足はほとんど外側に曲がったままだから大変な苦労して歩いてくるんですよ。そのハイタッチするんだけど大変なんです。彼の筋肉がこわばってる手と僕の手でこうハイタッチする。でその彼のことを思い出してね、僕はこれ面白いと思って見ることできないんですよ。これを作る人たちは痛みとかそういうものについてね何も考えないでやってるでしょ。極めて不愉快ですよね。そんなに気持ち悪いものをやりたいなら勝手にやってればいいだけで、僕はこれを自分たちの仕事をつなげたいとは全然思いません。極めて何か生命に対する侮辱を感じます。
これでもほとんど実験なので、
それは分かってます。
そう世の中に見せてどうこうってそういうのじゃないんです。
それは本当によく分かってます。
I mean, like, what a savage. He basically made that guy cry. But obviously most people who care about this stuff agree with the sentiment that, yeah, like, why would you want an AI to do this? Especially in terms of like an animated film as well. And even though you don't think about it, like think about all the video games you enjoy and all the little things that you probably don't even appreciate. Like the way bodies are animated, the way people move, the way, you know, it feels to do stuff. And you know that like so many people have contributed to that, like actual humans, like playtesters, people who've designed the animations to make it feel good. And I think about something like Max Payne 3. Literally one of the best feeling games I've ever played. And it just feels so good to play. And you just know there's so much human input in there. And there's still, in my opinion, there's never been something like that again. And it's such like a unique experience because of it. You just feel like AI could never respond to what humans want. It would just be efficient. So it could make something efficient and serviceable. Doesn't mean it's going to be good or interesting in any way. And that goes for like a lot of things. Like sure, AI can do a good imitation. It could make slop. Of course it can make slop. It can make slop that you see on Netflix, which is completely designed for a mass consumer audience who might be on their phone while watching it. But it can't make art, and that's the difference. And let's move on to this a bit more. I was going to talk about if Studio Ghibli might have grounds to sue OpenAI. All I'm going to say is from reading someone's reporting on this, it pretty much seems like they would have a case. At the same time, AI steals everything, and nothing stopped them so far. So I strongly think they maybe won't even present a case to have this art style pulled from it. But even if they did have a case and maybe won, that's the thing with things like AI. It steals all now, and it might get sued later, but it has so much money by them because of the hype it generates, it won't matter. So on multiple ethical levels, like, yeah, AI is a problem generally, but this is just the newest face of it. Like, it's a trend, and as a trend, it will die very quick. We won't be talking about this in a month. No one will be doing it in a month. But what is this for right now? Like I said, generate hype for OpenAI, generate all this interest, generate all this speculation around it, and they're pulling a stunt like this because of the threat of Chinese competitors, and just general competitors as well. AI is just theft, AI just steals, and I don't see any positives from this. Like, yeah, it makes you a cool picture. Is that your argument for it? It makes you a cool picture where you don't have to pay an artist? The downsides are it helps put artists out of work. It makes corporations more interested in doing stuff like this and actually making actual good films in this style. And also, it's bad for the environment and increasingly just fills our feeds with absolute slop content, which we're going to increasingly lower our bar for what art is. Now, like I said, I'm not someone who considers myself like an artist, but I am like I'm writing a book at the moment. It is just like something I've been working on for about a year. And I want to talk about this just now, just to make it clear how AI can never replicate any of this stuff, even if on the surface level it feels like it does. And like I said, sadly, for a lot of people in our age of content slop on TikTok and Netflix and even video games, that will be enough. So I'm writing a book right now, and it's a culmination of loads of my interests. It's a culmination of my politics. It's a culmination of my life experience. And I'll tell you what it was inspired by. So I was living in Phnom Penh. This is in like October 2022, and I'm just walking like on the street, and I see this Grab delivery driver. So if you haven't been to Southeast Asia, Grab is kind of like their Uber, and they wear like this pretty visible green uniform. So there's a woman on this bike, and on the back there is a girl, and I don't know if it's her sister, her daughter, or whatever, and they're just doing their deliveries together. And what really struck me about that is I've seen like thousands of Grab drivers at this point in Vietnam and Cambodia. It's the first time I've recognized one being a woman, and then there's someone else on the back. And that inspired the two main characters in my book, because I just started thinking about walking away from that, like their life, like what's that look like? What does it look like growing up in this city? What does that relationship look like? Both going to work on this delivery route and stuff and delivering people food and groceries. And from that just spawned these characters, right? And that's only from my own life experience. But then the rest of the book is inspired by my Irish background. A lot of the themes are taken from the Irish Revolution and the Irish Civil War. It's also influenced by my love of cyberpunk and the cyberpunk genre. The actual inspiration for a lot of the conflict in it was from Israel's war on Gaza in 2021, obviously exacerbated even further by what's been happening since 2023. And then obviously it's got all my influences from things I love, like Blade Runner, cyberpunk books like, Neuromancer, or even the Dune series. And like, it's just everything in my brain throughout my years, and references to stuff I like and deeper things that you'd only pick up on if you were either me or you'd consume the same things as me. And it's a complete culmination of everything in my life being put into this book. And you find that with most artists. It doesn't matter if it's the written word, directing, acting. Like I said, with Al Pacino, I'm listening to his book right now. So many of his characters are inspired by these kids he grew up with who all like died of drug overdoses. He would often struggle to pick roles is because he's like, that doesn't fit my life experience, right? And that just goes with everything. And AI could obviously replicate a book, right? If I told it, write me a book, in maybe like 5 or 10 years, I said, write me a book, it's about this, here's the through line, here's what I want it to cover, here's the ending, here's the middle point, here's all this stuff, write me a book. Steal someone else's style, steal someone else's work, write me a book based on this. And sure, it could maybe churn me out a book that is passable, it's readable. People who maybe don't know any better will read it and think it's fine. Maybe based on the stolen style, people might even like it. But first of all, it's not mine. It won't really have anything to say, and it will never get into the nuances because it's not a human writing it. It's a machine collecting other things that it thinks are good and putting it into like this product, and it will be limited by the confines of what's come before, because also we have to remember with AI, it can only regurgitate what's come before, and it won't have that unique perspective that will drive us into something new and give us something unique and fresh. Like, you could make an argument with most art, yeah, it is all a culmination of what's come before and what that person's consumed, but then you put like the life element into it, and there's no way an AI can replicate that, and that might be the next like great thing. Like, we think about all human history and the great, like, literature and really influential people like, you know, your William Shakespeare's, all these Greek writers, or these Chinese writers who've been so influential. There could be another one of them, like, in our lifetime, right? But there's not going to be another one if AI just makes everything for us. Think of all the great films we've had over the last century. If AI makes films, it's just a combination of all that stuff without any human emotion, human feeling, or human direction for it. It's just the machine. Best evidence of what AI will make in the future is stuff we have now. Look at that new Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown film. It's an adaptation of a work, but look at that. That is pure content slop. There's so much shit on Netflix that is purely designed just for people to put on in the background. That is the direction AI will take us with films or animation or anything. Stuff to stick on in the background while you just mindlessly scroll on your phone, and probably scroll AI garbage on your phone as well. Is that really the future you want? The future for AI, and under a communist society, what AI would do is AI would improve all our lives so we wouldn't have to dedicate so much time to work anymore, so we could pursue things like our artistic passions, our hobbies, whatever. That's what AI should be used for, to free us. People like Sam Altman and Elon Musk who are developing these AIs, if these AIs take your job, what happens to you? Do you get provided for by the government? No. These are very, very libertarian capitalists. If you have nothing to offer the free market, then the free market discards you. So if they start taking jobs that millions of people have, what's going to happen? You're going to go hungry, you're going to starve, you're going to die, probably. And then Elon Musk has taken a sledgehammer to all the social security and safety nets in America. So it's clear what they want to do. They want to enslave us with AI. And basically, they don't see any worth in actual artistic things. It's all about efficiency. And efficiency, in the way they think of it, is not a good thing when it comes to art. They mean produce it for as cheap and quick as possible. Not be efficient in doing the things to prepare yourselves to make this art and be efficient with the time or the tools. No, it's be efficient in terms of make this fucking slop that is passable, and that's it. So although this might seem silly, like Studio Ghibli, anime pictures for people on Twitter or some shit like that, think of the deeper meaning and think of what you're participating in with this stuff. Because the end result for society is the Netflix slot we see at the moment, but it's everything. It's everything. And even like I've been thinking about like university students using AIs to write essays. What do you get out of that? Why even fucking go to university if you can get AI to write everything? Why do anything if you're going to get AI to do it for you? If you want me to make a video about Dune's view on AI, let me know in the comments. But that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.